The Suzuki Swift has a lot of fans, but what if you want the looks and feel of the Swift, yet have a need for a bit more space? Well, Suzuki has answered your desire for a cute and peppy car with more practicality. In this video, we take a showroom tour of the facelifted Suzuki Dzire GL Plus Automatic and see if the changes are enough to fuel your desire. Let's do this! Hello guys, I'm Reagan and welcome back to another car review. If you're new to my channel, I hope you click that subscribe button for your regular dose of Philippine automotive content. If you're my subscriber already, well, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. After, you click that like button. Also, special thanks to Suzuki Sukat for providing the Suzuki Dzire GL Plus Automatic to do this review. If you are within the area and you have a need for a Suzuki, head on down here to Suzuki Sukat and check them out. If you have a Suzuki already, you may also have it serviced in their service area. For any inquiries, you may also contact the person in my pinned comment below. The Suzuki Dzire was born out of a need to give the Suzuki Swift a bit more cargo space, primarily for the Indian market. It is actually a Suzuki Swift that has an extended booty. Now in its third year, the Suzuki Dzire gets a mild facelift this year, and yet its price still remains quite competitive. This top-spec Dzire GL Plus Automatic has a retail price of only 708,000 Philippine pesos, undercutting other small sedans like the Kia Soluto EX and the Mitsubishi Mirage G4. If there's one word to describe the Dzire, it's cute. I mean, look at this thing. It looks like a puppy that's just waiting to be carried. Now, Suzuki further enhanced its cuteness by making updates to its front fascia. We now have a redesigned front grille here, and even the front bumpers have received a redesign, which now has these boomerang-shaped chrome trim. However, the lighting units are still all halogen in the Suzuki Dzire. We've got halogen headlights, halogen turn signals, and even halogen fog lights. Now, these lighting units might seem inferior when you compare it to, let's say, LEDs, but then do remember, guys, the Suzuki Dzire is still in the budget city car segment. The side profile really hasn't changed much from the pre-facelift model. I mean, there's really not much to change in this traditional three-box design. However, the Dzire GL Plus gets some niceties like this power folding side mirrors with integrated turn signals, and we also have decently sized 15-inch alloy wheels that are wrapped in 185/65 R15 tires. Now behind these wheels, we get budget meal mechanicals. The brakes up front are ventilated discs, but the brakes at the back are only drums. Now for your suspension, we have a MacPherson setup in the front and a torsion beam at the back. As I mentioned, budget meal mechanicals. However, there's nothing budget meal about the safety features of this top-spec Dzire GL Plus. As you can see here on the list, it is chock full of safety features such that even if it's a small city car, it will always keep your family safe whenever you're on the road. Towards the rear, we have the famous, or shall I say infamous, butt that the Suzuki Dzire grew out from a Swift body. You see, honestly guys, I'm not really the biggest fan of this because this thing just looks odd. Well, when it comes to practicality purposes, it does the job. At least this new Dzire tries its best to make the butt more appealing by incorporating this subtle rear spoiler here on the deck lid. Plus, we also have LED taillights that are connected together by this center chrome garnish. Now, when you pop open this trunk, you'll see one of the biggest advantages of having a butt on your Dzire. And that's because the cargo space has expanded to 378 liters, which is good enough for one medium-sized luggage and even a hand-carry luggage on top of it, plus some smaller items to the sides. However, the Dzire's back seat don't fold down, so good luck trying to carry larger stuff in your Dzire. At the heart of the Dzire, we get the same peppy engine that powers the Suzuki Swift. This is a 1.2-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated gasoline engine that puts out 82 horsepower and 113 Newton meters of torque. Now, the top-spec GL Plus is equipped with an automated manual transmission that sends the power to the front wheels. Now, Suzuki calls it its auto gear shift, which essentially is a manual transmission, but the clutch is operated by the computer. It's pretty similar to a dual clutch transmission, except the Dzire gets a single clutch instead of two. The cabin reflects the budget nature of the Suzuki Dzire. It chose to be sporty rather than techy or even plush. We get fabric seats here, and the seats also both have manual adjustments. No surprise there. Now, we also have a urethane steering wheel here, but at least the steering wheel has a flat bottom for that sporty nature. We also have hands-free buttons here for connectivity, and the wheel also adjusts for tilt, but it doesn't telescope. At least it tilts, guys, unlike some of its competitors like the Toyota Wigo, which has a wheel that is fixed in place. Now, when you look at the gauge cluster here, we have an analog gauge cluster, and I love the design of these gauges. They are quite sporty, and we also have a tiny multi-information display in the middle for your vital vehicle information. Now, when you look over to your infotainment system, we have here a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system, which is a pretty standard size already for these budget city cars. But it only has Bluetooth connection and doesn't have CarPlay, doesn't have Android Auto, and it also doesn't have a reverse camera. So when it comes to the tech features, well, it seems that the Suzuki Dzire is a few steps behind most of its competitors already. Now, I also noticed that the housing of this infotainment system is kind of large, such that it could probably accommodate maybe an 8 or a 9-inch touchscreen, maybe sometime in the future. We'll never know, guys, but yeah, that is the infotainment system. Now, when you go down to your climate control, we have a manual climate control system here, pretty expected already, and we also have a couple of squarish cup holders, which I will subject to my Clean Canteen test, but my Clean Canteen is outside, so I'll get it first.
A few moments later.
Okay, so now I have my Clean Canteen right here. It was just parked on the table outside, so we'll now subject it to my Clean Canteen test, but I have a feeling it will fail because it's kind of on the small side, guys. Yep, definitely it fails my Clean Canteen. It doesn't go in, so that is a fail. Now, when you go from the cup holders, we also have here your shifter for your automated manual system. Now, one thing that I noticed is it doesn't have a P option or a park option. That's because, as I mentioned, this is not a traditional automatic. This is a manual, a clutchless manual. Basically, it's the computer that operates the clutch for you in a way. But, so it doesn't have a P setting. It's just in N or neutral. And I also noticed that it also has the correct position for the manual modes. You see, you have, you pull down for upshifts and push up for downshifts. That is a sporty way of doing a manual mode, similar to a BMW, similar to Mazda, and we also have it here in the Suzuki Dzire. Now, from there, you go down to your manual handbrake here, also expected, and we also don't have a center armrest here, which is pretty much already standard for these budget city cars. Now, when you look at the cabin area of this Dzire, you'll see that it is a bit low rent because we are surrounded by hard touch plastics. Everything is hard touch plastics, although the quality of the plastics that they use here is a tad bit better than most of its competitors. Plus, I like the fact that they gave us some sporty bits. As I mentioned, you've got your flat bottom steering wheel. Look at the gauge cluster again. You've got that sporty design. Plus, check out the needle, guys. The needles of the tach and the speedo are in the 6 o'clock position, just like a proper sports car. Now, this is not a sports car, guys, but it makes you feel like you're in a sports car because of that instrument gauge layout. Now, the center stack here is also slightly angled to the driver. Plus, we also have that correct position manual mode in your shifter, which makes the Suzuki Dzire feel sporty while you're inside the cabin. The Dzire is a tiny car, hence we get a smallish backseat space here at the back. I'm 5'6", guys, and this is my driving position. And for your knee room, we get around 7.5 inches of space. So that is pretty decent for such a tiny car. But your headroom is only around 2 to 2.5 inches left of head space. So if you are taller than a 5'6", well, your head might start to scrape the headliner of the Dzire. However, having said that, guys, you could still put 2 average Asian adults here at the back and they'll be comfortable. If you try to squeeze in a third one in the middle, while doable, it is really not the most ideal situation. Now, we also get a lot of comfort amenities here at the back. We've got a couple of rear AC vents here, which surprised me because normally these budget city cars, they don't really give you rear AC vents, but the Dzire has that. We also have a 12-volt charging outlet and even a pocket cubby there where you can park your smartphone while you are charging it. Now, another surprise is the fact that this top-spec GL Plus also gets a center armrest here, and it even has a couple of cup holders. Now, I was surprised by this because normally budget city cars, they don't really give you a center armrest in the back seat, but we have that here in the Dzire GL Plus. So even if you could just limit your space to 2 average Asian adults here, they would still be quite comfortable because, well, the amenities were not sacrificed. The Suzuki Dzire may not have the best proportions out there in the budget city car segment, but it does offer a good level of practicality and driving engagement. But I haven't even driven it. Well, okay, so that's what they said. Suzukis have always been fun driving cars according to the people who drive them. I guess a future driving video is already in order. So let me make that happen first with Suzuki Philippines, and if ever it does happen, I hope to see you guys there. But until then, thanks for watching.